I have devoted much of my time to my community. I'm a television commentator and a newspaper columnist. I've served in elected office. I am president of the York Region Taxpayer Coalition, and I'm vice president of the Society for Quality Education. But the job title I like best never gets printed on a business card. I'm a mother, and I'm speaking as one today. Almost 16 years ago, I brought my first child, Jack, home from the hospital. I remember thinking how small and vulnerable he was. And as a first-time mother, I was struck by the fact that this tiny little person was completely dependent on me and my husband for everything he needed. Under our care, our 3 boys learned to walk, to talk, to use the bathroom, to dress themselves, and how to behave socially. And then we sent them off to school. What a shock it was for me to learn that Ontario had a school system who believes that it knows what my children need better than I do. What a shock to believe that a school system knows what's better for a child than their own parent. Greg Bereznik is the Superintendent of Education at the Waterloo Region District School Board. He wants you to know that the important role that educators play in raising your children. Back in 2012, he told the media that he believes teachers and principals are actually co-parents. Really? Co-parents? Mr. Bereznik, no matter how well-meaning you think you are about my children, you will never be their co-parent. You will never have anything that compares to a parent's bond with their child. You will never commit the way that a parent is committed to giving their children the very best. Ronald Reagan once said that the most dangerous words in the English language are, "Hi, I'm from your government, and I'm here to help." Not so long ago, we used to believe that the government served the public. In a democracy, we are told, the power of government comes from the people. But my, how that has changed. Premier Wynne and her government in the building behind us believe that they know what our children need better than what parents do. They tell us the way we raised our children is outdated. They believe that we are failing in our responsibilities as parents. We are told that the traditions of our society must give way in the name of progress. The problems of the 21st century are far too complex for people like you and I to understand. And if we don't understand these complex issues, how can we possibly teach our children about them? Do you want to talk about sex ed, Madame Premier? Let's talk about sex ed. Premier Wynne, perhaps you can tell me how to explain to my boys about some of the gender differences that they are experiencing at Ontario schools under your government. I want to know why boys graduating from Ontario High School today are statistically less likely to attend university than their female classmates. I'd like the Premier to explain the gender gap in EQAO test scores on literacy and mathematics. Don't our boys deserve the same opportunity to succeed in our schools as girls? Does the government's new sex education curriculum provide any explanation on the statistics regarding the gender of those who underachieve at school? Because when the Premier is talking about preparing our children for the complexities of the 21st century, surely she can predict the social and economic consequences of a school system that is displaying all the symptoms of gender inequality. Reading, writing, and arithmetic, taught with equality and accessibility for both genders. This is the kind of education, sex education the Ministry of Education needs to focus on. This is what your conversations need to be about, Madame Premier. This is what parents are demanding from you. Now, I know there are people who will think we are ignorant for speaking out against this new curriculum today. There are people on television, radio, and in the newspaper who will say that issues like sexting, bullying, sexually transmitted diseases, homophobia, and so on require government intervention. Look, if I saw a scintilla of evidence of the government being successful at resolving any human misery, then I might agree. But the government hasn't solved crime, or poverty, or homelessness, or hunger. The government hasn't stopped racism, sexism, or ageism. Believe me, for almost 100 years, various governments have tried many times to eradicate social problems, and every single attempt has failed. Government is never the answer. As parents, when government fails to solve any of society's problems, we also know what works. What works in eradicating hunger and homelessness and in ending discrimination, inequality, and especially the challenges that our youth face today is a strong family. The strong family is the foundation for everything in a child's life. Today, as evidenced by your presence, we are hearing the voices of strong families. Thank you for lending your voice in support of Ontario families. And thank you for challenging Premier Wynne's attempt to undermine families. I bring you some short words from the president of the York Region Anti-Bullying Coalition, Karen Sieben, who could not be here today with us. Karen would like to say that the YRABC, the York Region Anti-Bullying Coalition, is an organization that lobbies government to address the issues of bullying in our Ontario schools, fully supports the right of our parents to consult with government regarding any curriculum before it's adopted. You can find out more about this good organization at www.yorkregionanti-bullying.org. Thank you for your attention this morning.